In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and if you're new to the show, go to JimmyRants.com. You'll see that we start off on Instagram. I do a couple of live videos every single day, try to anyway. And so once you're there, you can engage in the content. So go to Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. You can see all of the content live when I go on live. And if you miss it live, you can actually watch it on replay there for 24 hours. It disappears after 24 hours on Instagram. A lot of you guys are watching this on YouTube right now. Thank you for watching on YouTube. You can engage in the content there. Just type in Jimmy Rants as a keyword search, and you'll find all the past episodes, which are in the 150s now, by the way. And then finally, we have a Best of the Best Jimmy Rants podcast, where you can hear snippets from this show on Apple Podcasts. We're working on the other podcasting formats, but right now it is on Apple Podcasts. Go leave us a review right there at Apple Podcasts. Again, all of these things, you guys, are listed at JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about something I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. And you guys that follow me and have known my work for many years, you know that I like to tinker and test. You know that I like to do things to see how they work. This whole concept of N equals 1, which is study lingo, by the way, for those of you that are new to hearing this term. In a study, N is the number of participants in the study, and then the number is the number of people that are participating in it. So when you do a test on yourself, you call it an N equals 1. Did you just learn something new? So that's where N1 comes from. And so I've been doing various ones over the years. And one I wanted to try at the beginning of this year was this whole concept of a ketogenic template carnivore diet. Now, a lot of people thought that I did a carnivore diet experiment last year, and I've quickly corrected them and said, no, I've never tried a carnivore diet because what I did last year was a meat-based high-protein experiment. So that was deliberately a 3-to-1 protein-to-fat ratio diet just to see what high protein would do. It just happened to be all meat, but that didn't mean that I did carnivore. Now I'm doing carnivore with a bit more than the carnivore diet alone, a bit more fat in it. And if you've been watching my updates on social media, then you know I'm not adding any exogenous sources, not great quantities of exogenous sources of fat. Most of the foods that I'm choosing naturally have higher amounts of fat. And I've been hitting the 70 to 80% fat range in all of those meals. And so 70 to 80% fat, which leaves me somewhere around 20 to 30% protein, okay? So 14 days just past doing this now, 2 weeks in a row, and everybody wants to know, how much weight have you lost? And if you know my philosophy, you know that that is the least interesting number that I could possibly share. But as you can see in the title of this Jimmy Rants, 18-pound weight loss in 2 weeks on keto carnivore. 18 pounds, pretty significant. Nobody's going to, bat an eye at that. They're going to go, whoa, that's really good. And it is really good. But I want to turn the tables a little bit, because that's not the best part. Everybody would say, oh, 18 pounds. How is that not the best part of this experiment you're doing? How is that not the headline and everything about what you're sharing about this? Why would you not want that to be heard? It's not that I don't want it to be heard, but when you say how much weight you've lost doing any given protocol, that's all people focus on. Oh, well, Jimmy Moore went keto carnivore, lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm going to lose 150 million pounds this year because of that. We've seen this movie play out again and again and again. So I want to put the focus on the other things. So if you're watching this and you saw that headline and you're like, whoa, I want to learn more about the weight loss, I hate to disappoint you, but you're going to learn about everything but the weight loss. Because the weight loss, it makes sense, right? If you start doing good things on the inside of your body and you start healing the inside of your body, guess what a byproduct of all of those things are? You're going to shed body fat. I use the weight loss as the vernacular, but the real thing you're actually producing is fat loss. So fat loss is obviously happening because healing's taking place in the body. Here are some really non-weight loss good things that have been happening since I started this keto carnivore. So I started it at the beginning of the year, a couple weeks ago. I have found so much more ease of doing intermittent fasting. You guys that know me know that I have regularly done intermittent fasting. It's pretty easy for me to do, kind of 16-ish hours, 16 to 18 hours, pretty much without even thinking about it, on my traditional keto diet, which still has a little bit of carbs, a lot of meat, but still has a little bit of carbs in it. So tightening it up where I eliminated all the carbohydrates from the diet and it's just meat and animal-based foods has made my ability to fast that much stronger. I've been averaging somewhere between 19 and 29 hours, right in that range of fasting doing this. Now, if you're able to fast for that long, that means really, really good metabolic things are going on the inside of your body where you're allowing your body to tap into the stored body fat for fuel. That is a great thing. That is a huge thing. It's a big reason why I've seen such fat loss so far is I've been able to go long periods of time without eating. I haven't been trying purposely to intermittent fast because everybody's like, well, the reason you're seeing success is you're intermittent fasting. But I was intermittent fasting before. But isn't there something to be said about the ease of which you can intermittent fast doing any given protocol? Do you think a low-fat dieter can intermittent fast and not have, for 20 plus hours, and not have any issues whatsoever? I did a book signing the other day. It was, I was in my 24th hour at that point when the book signing started. By the time I was able to eat, it was 29 hours between meals. Nothing, you guys. It was nothing to do that. And so Keto Carnivore's done that. And that's a huge benefit that if all you looked at was the weight loss, you'd miss this part. What about breath ketones? I've been using my Ketonix Bluetooth, and I have seen a decidedly higher indicator of fat burning taking place. And so ketonix.co, by the way, if you want to get that meter, it's an excellent meter for testing your level of breath acetone, which is the ketone in the breath. And it's a byproduct that fat burning is commencing. So the higher the number, the more fat burning that's taking place. And I've seen it go from under 10 to over 70 during this experiment. So it's another indication that fat burning is taking place. Whether I stepped on a scale or not, I would see that as a result of that. And let's be honest, guys, I'm wearing shirts that look like they're gonna swallow me whole because I am shedding a whole lot of fat. I didn't need to step on a scale to tell me that I'm losing weight. And so this whole notion that you have to step on the scale to get validated on any given journey is kind of silly. All right, back to the other things that are the best part of this experiment beyond the weight loss. I've been testing my blood sugar. So I've been wearing this glucose monitor. A lot of people are like, are you testing glucose? I'm like, yes. I have a blood glucose monitor that is called a Freestyle Libre. And so it's something that you shoot in your arm. I know that sounds painful, but it's not really. But you put it in your arm, it's got a needle in it, and you get a readout so I can test my glucose pretty much on a whim. So right now it's exactly 80. And that's where it's been kind of staying, is in the 70s and 80s. I'll have a little bit of upper 60s. I'll sometimes in the morning time have a little bit higher 80s. But I have yet on this experiment, not yet, one time, pre or post meal, had a blood sugar reading in the 90s or above. All of them have been below 90. Now, you can't discount that. Not that you guys would, but anybody that wants to look at how your health markers are going, and you can test your blood sugar on a whim, and every time you test it's under 90, that is a great sign of metabolic health, a great sign of metabolic healing that's taking place. And you would miss it if all you saw was that I lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks eating keto carnivore. If you're just joining us, that's what we're talking about here today. I'm in the midst of doing a 28-day experiment. I'm exactly at the halfway mark, and I've gone through 14 days of eating a keto carnivore. If you followed me on social media, you know what those meals look like. I've been posting them every single day. I've been posting the amount of fat, the amount of protein, the amount of calories that I'm consuming on this approach. And I've lost 18 pounds, yes, but I'm focusing in on all those things that have been much more relevant and exciting, and the best part of this that don't often get talked about. Now, obviously, I ran a whole bunch of blood work before this experiment started, and I've got all of those numbers ready to go. I don't want to share any of that because I'm not testing all of those things again till the end of the experiment, but things like triglycerides and fasting insulin and IGF-1, which is a inflammation marker, HSCRP, all of these things that show how your health is going before you start a protocol. And then I'm going to run them all again at the end of this just to see what changes took place. So that story is to be continued. But I'll tell you something. 2 weeks into this, and as good as I feel, the energy, this is another benefit, by the way, another best part. My energy has always been really good. You guys see me on Instagram Live every day that are regular fans of Jimmy Rants, so you know my energy's always high. It's that much bigger. It's that much better. And the clarity of the mind, it's pretty amazing. I'm about to do 3 podcasts today, and I love, because I haven't eaten since late in the day yesterday. I haven't eaten any food at all today, and probably won't eat any food at all till later in the day today. Can I tell you how freeing that is? How not thinking about food, and how energetic, and how mentally on point, all of those things are so incredibly interesting to me. Apart from the weight loss, I think we as a society get so hung up on weight, and that we want to focus in on the weight, that we miss the forest for the trees, because weight can be fleeting. Weight can come and go. I'm going to start incorporating in a lot more strength training once this official experiment is over. I didn't want to use that as a confounding variable, adding in strength training or infrared sauna or any of the other things that I like to do. I'm going to add that in once I'm no longer in the testing period. But I'm going to be able to do all of those things and do them well, because I've laid this foundation now. But here's the thing. When I started it, I wasn't sure how my body was going to respond. But now that it's responding well, why would I stop? And so now, this is the lesson for you guys. Find something. It doesn't have to be keto carnivore, but find something that starts moving the needle in the right direction of being healthy. Okay? And when you find that something, you keep doing that something. Now, maybe in the midst of doing that something, you notice, okay, I need to tweak things here and there. It's all good. But find that something and then run with it. And the lesson of this Jimmy Rants is, don't focus in just because you lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks like I did on keto carnivore. That's not the best part, you guys. The best part is all these other things that have happened as a direct result of getting my body in a place where it's healing on the inside, and the obvious side effect of that will be fat loss on the outside. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. It's beginning of my 45th year reverse aging, says Jesse. Well, happy birthday, Jesse. Thanks for all you do. We appreciate you. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. All righty. Welcome in. I love tinkering and testing too, says Steph. Day 3 of Carnivore for me today. Well, good luck to you. Good morning, Candy. Thanks for being here. I miss your seatbelt. Yeah, I've got a podcast to do. I have a hard break in about a half an hour, so I thought there's no way I could go out, run some errands, do these Jimmy Rants, and get back in time. So that's why I'm in my massage chair. I'm chilling like a villain, Alberto. Are you a randomized subject? That's cute. She's using terminology of studies. Enjoy watching your experiment and hearing about your experience with Carnivore. Thank you, Chrissy Sue. I'll keep sharing because I think it's helping people at least see what happens to me, and maybe it motivates them to try something new. I was hesitant about trying a carnivore diet just because of the personalities involved that were promoting it were not exactly the nicest people in the world. And so sometimes how information is presented is as relevant as what the information is that's presented. So for me, the what, I didn't hear it because the who were not very nice people. But now I'm listening to people like Amber O'Hearn and people like Dr. Sean Baker, and I decided to give it a go, and I'm really glad that I did. It's amazing how easy you're making it look. It is easy. I'm not making it look anyway, Chrissy Sue. I'm just doing it, and I'm trying to share very openly. Another one of the criticisms I've got is, well, why aren't you using grass-fed and all this really quality? Why are you eating hamburgers and sausages and all this stuff? I'm trying to show people, look, this is what it could look like in the real world. And if it looks easy to do in the real world for people, guess what's going to happen? They're going to do it. Now, when the lights are off, so to speak, of this 28 days, I will turn to doing probably more organ meats in this as well, and really not obsessing about the counting, because as you've seen, if you followed my experiment, my calories are all over the place. I'm not trying to shoot for any caloric intake. In fact, if you see the meals, they've ranged from 1,600 calories to 3,200 calories. So I'm not trying to hit any calorie goal. My goal is eat fattiest meats that I can find in the 70 to 80% range, and then eating to satiety and letting my body tell me how much is enough and how much is too much. And because I'm doing that, I'm reaping the benefits in fat loss, the 18 pounds, but I'm also getting all these other benefits that I've talked about here. I love your Keto Hacking MD podcast. Thank you, CKS of 3. Nerdy, scientific, fun, and informative. Yeah, we're going to be talking about this in the coming weeks on Fridays, you guys. If you don't listen to my Friday podcast, the Keto Hacking MD podcast, go to ketohackingmd.com. In a couple weeks, we'll start talking about this carnivore diet that I'm doing, this keto carnivore. And then once we get the results back from the 28 days, the blood tests, we're going to analyze those and talk about this as well. So there's even more goodness. Always there's more goodness. I also lost weight, totally unexpected. It was a secondary benefit to me, says Alberto. Kimberly, how are you feeling? More energy. I'm so proud of you for sharing your experiment with us. Do I look like I have energy or no energy? I don't have enough energy. Ah! Yes, I have energy. I'm curious how I would react to that, says Kitty Caddick. It may be later. Hey, give it a go. I think anybody can find benefit from changing things up if you become stagnant in what you're currently doing. Did your cravings for keto sweets go away? Well, I, Natasha, haven't had cravings in the traditional sense that people talk about cravings in years. Keto took that away many years ago. It has been interesting that one of the side effects of doing a carnivore template is you don't eat anything other than meat and animal products. So there is no keto cookie that's made out of animal. There is no like nuts that are made out of animal. Somebody even the other day when I posted my one of my daily updates, they said, well, where's the vegetables? All right, find me a vegetable that's made out of animal products, and I'd be happy to add it to my diet. But the last time I checked, most of them are plant-based. I've been stalled for a couple of months, even gained a few pounds from eating too many Quest bars and other keto goodies. I need to reset my sweet tooth. Well, if you're eating Quest bars, those probably aren't ideal for a ketogenic approach. So give it a go, Natasha. I'd love to hear how you do doing a keto. Jesse wants to know, can you explain the difference between macronutrient ratio and percentage for those who are confused? I don't know what you're talking about. Both of this, they're synonymous, Jesse. The macronutrient ratio, so for me, 70 to 80% of my diet is comprised of dietary fat. And so that's the ratio of fat calories to the total calories consumed. So that would equate in that range of 70 to 80%. So if you talk about somebody eating a 75-25 diet, those are macronutrient ratios. I'm not really aiming to do an exact macronutrient ratio. As you guys know, I'm not a fan of that. But to really find a range. And so when I run the numbers, which I would not be running the numbers if I wasn't doing an official experiment, I'm running the numbers so people can see what exactly is going on. See, even while we've been talking here, my blood sugar's down another 4 points, 76. Did you see the study and Mike posted about how even on keto you can eat too much fat? I'm not saying you're doing that or not doing that. It just makes me rethink if I need to lower my fat. Yeah, Healthy Utah Keto. I got in a little bit of trouble yesterday because I posted a comment on not Mike's post. Mike's a good friend of mine, but on someone else's post, and people blew up, and it's horrible how there's this notion that you have to lower your fat calories if you want to lose weight. Want to bet? Want to bet? I've been averaging about 75% fat on this experiment that I'm currently doing. 75% fat, which nobody's going to say is anything but a high-fat diet. And I've lost 18 pounds in 14 days. So if that's true, then how do they explain results like the ones I'm getting? Okay? But again, I think that digresses from the bigger picture here. The bigger picture are all these really good things that are happening apart from the weight loss that are a clear sign that metabolic healing and health are taking place. So yes, I did see that, and no, I'm not buying it, honestly. Seems like your color is better since Carnivore. Well, I am in my man cave, and so I'm a little bit, it's lower lighting in here, so that's really the only reason. I think it's difficult to get too much fat. Your body will scream stop. See, Alberto, that's the thing. There's kind of this kind of philosophy difference of protein being the most satiating macronutrient versus fat. I contend it's a mix of both, but for people with insulin resistance, it leans toward the higher fat and moderate protein, which is what I'm doing. I'm getting a lot of comments from people saying, oh my God, you're eating so much protein on that Carnivore. And I'm like, do you see the percentages of fat and protein? It's still extremely high in fat, 75%. And yeah, 25% of calories coming from protein is higher than I have been doing. But in the context of no carbohydrates, I think you're allowed a little wiggle room to have a little more protein. Does that mean I'm eating high protein? Not at all. It's still a very moderate protein diet as a percentage of the total calories. How do you look at the carbs in eggs and seafood and things like that, Jesse? I don't. I think that's minutia. There is 0.6 grams of carbs in an egg. Don't get bogged down by that. I think that's how people sabotage themselves, thinking, oh, I thought I was eating 0 carb and I'm having 0.6 grams of carbs. Don't do that to yourself. It's silly. I can always tell with my clothes, says Christy. Yeah, I mean, this shirt is about to like fall off of me. It's so big now. I want one of those monitors. Do you need a prescription? Lady Klingon. Yes, so earlier I showed that I'm wearing the Freestyle Libre. It's a flash glucose monitor. This little device and the little finger or the little needle thing that you put in your arm. Here, I'll pull it back out again. So yeah, as you can see, I have that in my arm. It's about 3 more days left on it. You get about 12-ish days with it on, and you can test your blood sugar on a whim, 76. But you do need a doctor's prescription to get one. So if you can't find a doctor who will do it, there's a bunch of functional medicine doctors online, like my Keto Talk co-host, Dr. Will Cole, drwillcole.com, if you want to go check him out, who could prescribe if you wanted to experiment using a glucose monitor like this. It's certainly a whole lot easier than pricking your finger every single day. I've been told that some doctors will prescribe glucose meters. Not sure. Well, you can get just a plain old glucose meter anywhere, Jesse, without a prescription. Walmart, any pharmacy. But to get this specific one, the Freestyle Libre, which is called a flash glucose monitor, you actually do need a prescription for that. So you're only eating when you're hungry, CKS of 3G. Yes. And see, here's the thing. People are like, well, I'm never hungry on keto. The thing is, we're so used to hunger being this overwhelming sense that of just, I gotta eat now, where you get hangry, that we forget hunger is just a, I need to turn that around, sorry. It's just a little tap. It's just telling you, okay, it's time to eat. No big deal. Try to do it in the next hour or two, but it's no big deal. And that's what I found with this, that I get to the point where my hunger isn't quite ravenous because it never gets that way. Why? Because I'm feeding even when I'm not eating. I'm feeding on the stored body fat, which is indicated in that ketonics and the blood glucose. And by the way, I am testing blood ketones as well, and they've never shot up really high. I know some people post their blood ketones 4 or 5 range or whatever when they're doing a carnivore or fasting. Mine have been almost like clockwork, always, 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 right at the 1.5 range. 1.4, 1.6, 1.5, 1.4, and it's right there. So my body's found the sweet spot for ketones, even though breath ketones might be a little bit higher and some of the other markers. It's been pretty amazing. Seems you found the win-win, says Darla. I think so. And I'm trying to be very cautious about this because I think if this continues on this path, it's going to shut up a lot of naysayers about a high-fat diet, about a low-carb approach, about a ketogenic approach. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Your blood sugars are great. Thank you. I am strong. I am keto. What are you drinking throughout the day? Mostly water. I'm not a coffee fan. I'm not a tea fan. I don't really like all that stuff. I still like a diet soda once and again, but mostly it's water as my liquid of choice. I bet you're spending less time focusing on meals, eating, and prep. Yeah, when I make those meals that you see, within about 10 minutes, they're done. I'm eating it. Takes another 20-ish minutes to eat those meals, and then I'm done. And then I'm back to the grind, back to working. It's pretty amazing. Sometimes I wish I just had the positive energy of your pinky finger. Well, it is, maybe that's a whole nother Jimmy rants I could talk about, Chrissy Sue, of how I stay positive and up, so to speak. But I think keto contributes a lot to that. Keto is kind of the secret sauce of how I keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. You've been spunky as of late, says Jesse. Thought I've always been spunky, but I suppose Keto Carnivore has helped with that. Bonnie Lene says, not thinking about food because of addictions to certain foods sounds so appealing and so freeing. It really is, Bonnie. So happy it's working for you, says Lilligran. Thank you. You don't lose weight to get healthy. You get healthy to lose weight. Christy, that is the highlight comment of the day. Thank you for sharing that, and you're exactly right. Grandma does keto. I'm doing carnivore this month too. Extended fast or wild. Super energy, and yes, 12 pounds of fat loss so far. Aren't we all just N=1 in our lives? Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it. I think we all should be those. And actually, the goal, you guys, is not N=1. It's N=everybody. Because everybody, as Grandma Does Keto astutely points out, you are doing an experiment on yourself, whether you're pricking your finger and putting devices in your arm or whatever. You are an experiment. So whether you're tracking or not, or whether you're purposely trying to do things that will make your body in a better place, that's up to you. But at the end of the day, you are experimenting on yourself. Massage chair, so jealous. Yeah, this thing's been nice. I have sciatica pain on my right side, so it certainly helps with that. Beautiful binge eater, when I first started keto, my health markers were all in the healthy range, but I wasn't a happy person. Keto and fasting have changed me emotionally, and I'm a happier person, which is even better than the weight loss. And on this Jimmy Rants, that is a great other benefit that is a whole lot better than the 18 pounds of weight loss I've seen in 2 weeks doing this. Yes, everybody will want to focus in on that, but my focus is all of these intangibles that hardly ever get talked about in this context. Do you remember watching The Biggest Loser and you'd see those people step on the scale? Yay, they lost 14 pounds. I wanted to hear them say, yay, I feel better. Yay, I came off of a diabetes medication. Yay, I got my inflammation checked and it came down significantly. You're going to hear me hammer this again and again, you guys. I think all of those health changes and even those subjective changes in how you feel are so much more important than the weight loss. I'm interested in the end results with all your markers. Thank you, Kita Nana. Me too. I want to see what things got better. I know triglycerides dropped like a rock, which post-Christmas, they were a little bit higher than they have been, so I know they'll drop. Inflammation markers will be interesting. We tested IGF-1 and HSCRP. HSCRP was 1.25, so it's going to be interesting to see if it comes down below 1. I think it will. Fasting insulin was actually not that bad. It was somewhere around 10. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think it was 10.7, which has been lower than it has been. It's going to be interesting if it's closer to 5. Because that is kind of the nirvana of what you're looking for with fasting insulin. And it's a telltale sign that this is exactly what I need to be doing. But we'll see. I'll share all that here. I'll probably do a Jimmy Rants about it, sharing both the before and after of those health markers so you guys can hear how this went. Joshua said, came off of 8 days of fasting straight into carnivore because I'm seeing you're doing so well and I now want to do it as well. Well, Joshua, go get him, buddy. Keto Neogenesis, Beth says, I'm close. Most days I'm carnivore. My big win this week is very easy intermittent fasting. I'm averaging 22 hours a day. Never been able to do that before. Yeah, before I started this, people are like, oh my gosh, you did such a dramatic change. I was 95% keto carnivore before I started. So all I've done is cut out the culprit carbohydrates that were in my diet and maybe upped the amount of fatty meats just slightly to make up for that. So it's not really that different from what I was doing, but look at the difference it's making already, just making that little tweak. And that's a lesson in and of itself as well. Ketone Jones, thank you for everything. Coming up on my 1-year keto anniversary, down 85 plus pounds. Kudos, man. That's awesome. Blood pressure's normal. Doctor tells me whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Keep up the good work. Those kind of doctors, you need to say, you know, I'm doing keto. You know, that diet you told me not to do because you thought it was going to give me heart disease and clog my arteries and give me a heart attack. That's what Jimmy Moore would do. Eats his satiety. That's the best part, says Lady Klingon. Yeah. I thought you were going to use grass-fed for this. Isn't it better to use better quality, or did I hear that wrong? Bonnie Lene, you heard that wrong. I am... For this experiment, this 28 days, I'm purposely avoiding higher quality meats. I'm purposely avoiding exercise. I'm purposely avoiding doing anything that would be considered what's called a confounding variable, okay? So confounding variable in a study setting is anything that would skew the results of what you're trying to test. And what I'm testing is carnivore, keto carnivore. So a 70 to 80% fat diet, okay, that is in the carnivore template. So it's all meat and animal-based foods that is keto. and I'm testing ketones to make sure that. That's what I'm doing. And I'm also trying to show people how easy this is. Now, obviously, when the 28 days is over, I'll be choosing better quality meats and things like that to continue this journey. But I didn't want anybody to say, well, of course you got the results you got because you exercise. Of course you got the results you got because you had higher quality foods and nobody could possibly do that, blah, blah, blah. Taking away all those excuses, okay? So that's why. One of the reasons I adore you is how real you keep things. I just like you're just a normal dude I could hang out with, so I relate better. I think for that reason, keep it real, Jimmy. Thank you, Chrissy Sue. I'm just a dude. I really am just a dude. People say, oh, you're so famous in the keto world. I'm just a dude. Not a PhD, MD, RD, or any D after my name. I just wake up in the morning, put my clothes on, and get to work like everybody else does. When you say you get your blood work done, do you ask your doctor to order it or do you pay out of pocket? Thank you, Losing the Belly to Gain the Bump. I run all my own tests through privatemdlabs.com. There's another one called anylabtestnow.com. There's a bunch of these where you can run your own tests because my doctor wouldn't possibly run all these tests. He's an idiot. I had to fire him last year because he refused to run fasting insulin. You're not a type 2 diabetic. Okay, but I want to track that. Well, I'm not running it. So yes, I'm paying out of pocket. I do have a health savings account, and you can use the dollars from an HSA on these websites. I know privatemdlabs.com does take an HSA account. So all the labs that I ran at the beginning of this experiment were over $400. So it's not cheapo. And I'm going to run them all again at the end of this month, right out of pocket again. So yeah, if you've got the money, try to do that. Keto Brick Cozy, I do love the Keto Brick. Unfortunately, it's not animal-based, so it's not on my carnivore diet. When I look at cravings, they often coincide with deficiencies. Yep, they sure do. We talked about that in my book, Real Food Keto. My body still produces food, milk, for two little human beings. Don't think carnivore will hurt, though. Well, I would say, Kat, you probably want to finish breastfeeding first and then start carnivore if you're going to try this. Didn't Dr. Berry drink pure heavy cream for a month to disprove that fat intake theory too? Yeah, and I'm including cream. I have not much of it, but a little bit of heavy cream in this one because it is animal based. All right, let's see. No one counts the glycogen carbs on meat either. No, Sam, we do not. It is so minuscule, and I think you get caught up in the weeds when you start looking at, oh no, we have just little bits of carbs and this and that and this and that. BB wants to know, are you going to continue carnivore after this experiment? Why would I not continue, BB, doing a keto carnivore approach with all of the incredible benefits that I've seen doing this? Keto has broken my sugar addiction better than anything. Yeah, it does do that. So O'Leary Ann wants to know if I'm still doing all the hacks, the ice baths, the HIIT training, all that. So I've just explained a few moments ago, all of those would be a confounding variable to what I'm primarily testing. When I'm done with this at the end of this month and I go headlong into February and beyond, I'm going to be adding in all of those hacks plus extra hacks that we're going to be talking about on this Friday's episode of the Keto Hacking MD podcast. In fact, that's what we're recording here in about 8 minutes. So I got a boogie here soon, you guys. But yes, the answer to your question is yes, I will be. No, I'm not currently. I love another rant, including Christine soon. So Jesse, Christine, my wife, is a nutritional therapy practitioner for all the rest of you. She is. We're going to have her come on once a week and do a rant, and then we're going to air the audio of that rant on our Monday podcast called Nutritional Pearls. So she will be back. I wonder if doing keto and carnivore cycling would be beneficial. Betty, I think anything is worth testing to see how you do. For me, I think you can do both. Why do you need to cycle in of keto and carnivore? Why do you need to cycle them? Just do keto carnivore. Boom. So it's working for me right now. All righty, let's see. Right before I started keto, my vision started getting blurry. When I looked at my phone, I was prescribed glasses, but was waiting to afford the better ones. I started on keto, and the vision went right back to normal. Natasha, that does happen. Christine had seen a progression of, or regression of her eyesight every year until she started keto, and now she's had 8 straight years where her vision has not changed for the worse. It's pretty spectacular. What's your theory as to why keto carnivore is working so well? Do you think you have to be closer to zero carb from the insulin resistance? I think so. Maybe it's a carb thing. And maybe I didn't notice it because it was just such a low level of reaction to even the vegetable carbohydrates I was consuming. Who knows what's actually going on that's making these benefits happen? Honestly, though, I don't care what the mechanism is, just that it's working. And if it's working, I will obviously continue to do that. And being mindful of not allowing any old things to come back in. And I think the restriction of staying to animal-based foods certainly helps keep you on the straight and narrow. All righty. Started carnivore on Monday, says Steph. Friend gave me some local deer steaks that her husband shot. Oh, that's cool. It'll be real interesting to compare to next month when you do better quality. We can then look at the blood work to see if there was a change. Well, I'm not so sure I want to shell out another $400 next month. You want to contribute to the Jimmy Moore N=1 fund? I'm more than happy to take your money and to continue testing. There probably would be value, though, if I do continue this the whole year to do a month by month kind of check in on all those exact same numbers just to see. But guys, that's going to add up really fast, and I don't make that much money. So, all right, guys. So the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is, yes, I've lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks doing keto carnivore. And no, that is not the best part. The best part are all the other great things that are happening in my general well-being and wellness and health markers that are surely getting better. And yes, the weight loss is a cool thing. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not discounting it, but all these other things that we've talked about, to me, are so much more fascinating and interesting than all the weight loss in the world. Because if I can get a 68 blood sugar and I still feel well, that's pretty darn cool. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com. You'll see that we start off on Instagram. Go follow me there at Living Low Carb Man, and you can watch live. Otherwise, watch it on the replay on Instagram. If you miss it there, we do pop them over onto YouTube. Watch them there, all the past episodes. We also have a Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts and coming soon to all the podcasting formats. And all of this, you guys, is at jimmyrants.com. So until next time, we'll see you then.